Hello, Power fans and Mathonical here, joining me for round 3 with Priest Reanimator. Our opening hand looks pretty sweet. We've got plenty of digging through our deck. We got the Ulamog's Crusher discard. We could have a turn 2 Crusher. That seems pretty good to me, so let's go with it. And let's see, our opponent's playing Plains into Thraben Spectre. I'm going to assume Boros Monarch at this point, but it's always hard to tell. There's a few different decks that could be playing that kind of start. We found an Unearth, not the Exhume we were looking for, so we're going to keep on digging. Still haven't found it. That's alright. We found it now, so alright. Also, what is this? Like, main deck Relic? Yikes, that's going to be tough to play through. And of course, they're playing Journey, so our turn 3 Ulamogs is not good enough. So we're just going to have to go for the High Priest combo now. Gonna have to find some white mana at some point. We could also just play Insolent Neonate to discard it and then pull it back. So actually, we probably... Do we have... Well, they have the 1 mana with the Relic up, so we wouldn't be able to win through that. We're gonna have to find some way of making them pop that and winning past it anyways, or hope they tap out. Unlikely. Alright, white mana, that's good. I play the Unearth there, hoping to bait out the Relic. They didn't go for it, so I'm just going to, now that I have essentially all the pieces other than the Mogg War Marshal, I'm going to try and start the combo. They do see it and pop the Relic. I'm pretty safe at this point, since I am able to essentially rebuy anything every single turn, so I'm going to be able to sack this Neonate to get rid of the Stinkweed Imp, dredge 5 cards, and then if I find a Mogg War Marshal in those 5 cards, I get to go off again, and they're fully tapped out at this point. So I did dredge, didn't find it, found 5 lands off top. Glad to get those out of the way. So we're just going to keep cycling this Neonate. We can do this essentially every single turn. Still haven't found what we're looking for. And just a ton of lands. So glad we can dredge through our deck this quickly. This would definitely be a loss if we didn't have that unmake for our second Crusher. That kind of sucks, but we will survive. They're swinging in with some Hawks. We're just going to go ahead and keep our life total as high as possible. And there we go. We found the Mogg War Marshal. So at this point, we do have the infinite combo. And we do have our pinger, our Firebrand over there. So it's just a matter of how do we want to win? Do we think if we have enough time, we can ping off their creatures and swing in with a lethal Firebrand? If we had less time, that wouldn't be the way we want to go, but we have sufficient time, so I'm just going to skip us through. Essentially, we're going to do the exact same thing we did in game number 2. We're going to generate enough mana so we can start using our Firebrand to systematically ping down all their creatures, then generate enough mana again to play the Firebrand, give it enough pumps with the Crown, and swing in for lethal. If we get lazy along the way, or if we feel like we don't have enough time, we can stop early and just kind of do a good enough swing in. But at this point, with 12 minutes on the clock, we've used half our time. We might as well just go for the full-on win. It's possible they could have things like strands and stuff like that to really buy a lot of time, so no point in waiting. And then I changed my mind because it started taking a bit too long after killing all their creatures. We're down below 10 minutes, so this is something that you have to keep in mind. If you're taking too long through your combo, make sure to pivot. I decided instead it was better to just kind of swing in for as much damage and present lethal plus a bit on the next turn. Turns out they have some removal for our High Priest. That's fine. We're just going to sack a Goblin to get a red to get the crown back. So now any reanimation spell or another Priest allows us to go off again. Sacred Crowd is fine. We're just going to pop that out of the way, get the crown down, and just pump once. And this will be enough to go in for lethal. So definitely saved us a few minutes from having to combo off to get enough mana to go for our lethal attack next turn. And yeah, 9 minutes to try and win a second game. At this point, we do want to try and lean heavier on the reanimation strategy for Ulamog, but it does really suck since they have journeys. So we'll have to see what we can do. And jumping on over to game number 2. They're not an aggro deck, so we don't want the Faithfuls. I did consider putting in the Anglers, since they do have things like Graveyard Hate and whatnot. That does seem like a reasonable include. There's also like the Martyrs, but I ended up deciding not to go with any changes. I couldn't really see an angle of attack with my sideboard, so we may have to consider changing some sideboard cards for matchups like this in the future. Seems like there's some kind of mono-white controlling-ish list based on what we saw. So we'll have to see how this goes. And our opening hand. Well, we have the Crusher and the High Priest, but a lot of Evolving Wilds. It looks a little risky to me. So we're going to send it back. This hand is a lot better if we manage to find a Crusher or even a High Priest. This could allow us to go off for a pretty quick win, so I'm going to keep that. And Crusher on top. Perfect. They do have Journeys, so it's not game over, but it does give us winning chances, so we're just going to kind of go for it. If we draw a Black Source, we could just Faithless Looting and go for it right away. I only discard one Crusher there, just in case they Relic and pop it. Thankfully they haven't done that yet. And we did find another Black Source, so we're just going to play that. Take our beats, and, well, let's go for it. Also, they do have the Journey, and sure enough they do. It's fine. Sucks, but it's fine. Take our beats some more. We're going to have to, given the context of our hand, use this Faithless Looting to try and find some more action. We don't really have much going on at the moment. Another Exhume. Very nice. So what we're going to do is Faithless Looting, get rid of that, and then we're going to sack our Prospector to Exhume. Hopefully they don't have a second way to deal with it right away. If they do, then we're in trouble. And a Palace Sentinel. Alright. Well, we get to swing in. We're going to be able to blow up some of their stuff at least. Of course, the Cathar is essentially a freebie for throwing away. They're going to, of course, throw a creature in front of it because they don't want us taking the Monarch. We'll get the Stinkweed Imp down, and we're going to have to try and get that Monarch back from them. They do have that Relic. Kind of sucks for us. Especially since we have part of our combo now, and they just kind of get rid of it now. Oh well. So we hit them, get that down. We're going to play the High Priest here. And let's see, Angelic Purge, yep. So things aren't looking too good. We do have to try and get in for some damage, but they discarded a Prismatic Strands because they had cards left over. That kind of sucks for us. So we're going to swing in. I did put the Crown of Flames on, mainly because if they block this one, we want to be able to kill them with no matter which one they blocked with. So there we go. Squadron Hawk. Alright, things are looking like we're slowly getting out of this. They still have 5 cards in hand, and they're drawing 2 cards a turn. If we don't get the Monarch from them to refill our hand, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. So we're just going to keep on swinging in. They're going to lose their creatures. Kind of sucks. More Squadron Hawks. We knew this was coming. I'm assuming at this point they're just trying to get up to enough to kind of get through this. Firebrand. I probably should have played this before combat. And yeah, I wasn't sure what they would have. Turns out they had a Celestial Flare, so now they're able to keep the Monarch. If we had played the Firebrand ahead of time, we could have shot down the Squadron Hawk and guaranteed stealing the Monarch. That would have definitely been a much better play, so a bit of a misplay on our part. And at this point, I'm not seeing much of a way of us getting back out of this, since they've exiled our Priest. We did manage to find another Priest, which is awesome. And we're going to be able to put the crown on it to get back the Neonate, which is going to allow us to sack to see what we can dredge. And we didn't find anything we were looking for. We still need both the Prospector and the War Marshal to get this combo going. So, and of course, the third. How many has this been so far? 2 relics. Ouch. So many relics from this deck. That's going to make it real tough. So we're going to play the Grindy Value Plan. And that's not going to work that well since they do have the Monarch and are drawing 2 cards a turn. But we'll try our best. We just need to find probably something to get the extra combo pieces in the graveyard. Although now they have the 3rd Relic of Progenitus, so... Yikes. Okay, they're going to kill our Stinkweed Imp. I put something in the graveyard just to block it from getting eaten right away. But, of course, they sacked their 3rd one. At this point, we've got no chance of coming back. So I'm just going to concede. We do have to be mindful of our clock, and that's the main reasoning there. And on to game number 3. So we do have to go on the fast win plan since we're down under 4 minutes. And for that, we definitely have to bring in all 3 anglers. What we're going to bring out? Well, we're going to bring out a couple of these Unearths and the Crown. I'm thinking... after having a bit more experience playing the deck, it would probably be best to bring out all the crowns since they're not going to allow us to... We're not in any position to grind. We just have to play anglers, play Crushers and just kind of smash face. That's the way we have to win this one on so little time. So, let's take a look at our opening hand. Well, we have an Angler, Tormenting Voice to get some stuff in the bin. This does look keepable, so we will keep it. No black source yet, but I'm assuming we'll be able to find one at some point. We're gonna have quite a bit of digging at least. So if we did have the crown, we would have the ability to combo off pretty quickly. Of course, they do have the turn 1 relic and are gonna eat away at everything in our graveyard, which makes our Angler look pretty bad. We're gonna go ahead and get rid of that. We do want to cast this Tormenting Voice. And we're going to go ahead and do that, get rid of the looting, but didn't find anything. May have been better to throw away like the High Priest or something, but this is fine. Going to continue losing part of our graveyard, so it makes it pretty difficult to play this Angler and play the fast plan. So yeah, things are not looking too good. So many relics, such main deck, yikes. Well, things are not looking good. We're still playing as fast as possible. Lots of F6ing. You got to make sure if you're playing on the fast game plan, you just kind of have to go for it. Of course, I'm pretty glad that they are using the Journey on our Priest. It does mean that we have chances if we do manage to pull out a Crusher to do something with that at some point. And here we go. Since we were able to do a Dredge and they didn't want to crack their relic, we're going to be able to play at least one Angler at this point. And here we are. So they're attacking with multiple creatures. I do go for the block, but I realize I probably should have blocked with more than one creature. Although, even if I had, they would just be able to kill the creatures that I blocked with first and then cast the Celestial Flare afterwards, so there wasn't really much playing around it. I will be able to play another Gurmag Angler, which, if I wanted to, instead I end up going for the High Priest plus Stinkweed. Stinkweed will be able to block any of their Hawks. Of course, they end up just killing it. And getting in for quite a bit of damage, so things aren't looking too good. I did mean to go for a block, but I hadn't moved to the block phase yet, so I ended up just pinging and having to block. I did want to chump and then pop one of the Hawks, so a little unfortunate there. Of course, they pop their relic to get rid of our graveyard, so things aren't looking too great. And at this point, I don't really see a way for us to win. They're getting in for a ton of damage. We just have to get in the way of trying to stop some of this damage from happening. Stinkweed Imp is a nice find. Of course, they end up having an exile effect. So this deck is certainly the perfect deck to beat Priest Reanimator. I don't think there was much I could do, and I'm surprised we even managed to take game 1 with those main deck relics. So, oh boy, if we start seeing a lot more of mono white control, do not recommend playing Priest Reanimator. But let's hope we don't play against it in the next round, and I'll see you there.